Good morning.
Recording stopped.
Today is a scheduled meeting, so we will take the agenda, formally approve the agenda, and apologies, and then we will take the minutes. We also have the report of the oversight visit. Thank you very much to the staff for doing these reports at such a record time and also doing a very good job. Nicolette has also prepared a research paper, which we will take today. That research paper was sent to members in a very record time. Nicolette has prepared that research paper. We have sent it to the ministry and to the National Commissioner so that you know what we are going to be discussing today. We had the release of the crime stats, which went very well yesterday. Congratulations to the Minister, the National Commissioner, and the team. As we said yesterday, we still have challenges, but there are certain green shoots. I repeat, there's improvements in a number of areas. When we did our oversight visit, we noticed the improvement and acknowledged the improvement at the Central Firearm Registry. We have also accepted that the new recruits will be on the ground. We'll have more boots on the ground of young men and women, and we are very proud and happy of this. For this, Nicolette and Babawa. Nicolette, are you ready? Babawa, you can now give us the
Recording in progress.
Babawa, you can give us the agenda, please. Nicolette, are you guys there?
Good morning, Jay. I am here. I think Babawa maybe have some difficulty with her sound.
Yes.
But I
But
will.
can you flight the agenda, please, Nicolette?
Yes, Jay.
Thank you, honorable members. We have the adoption of the agenda. Do I have a proposal for the adoption of the agenda?
Morning, Chairperson. It's Khoza. I move for the adoption of the agenda. Thank you.
Good morning, Honorable Khoza. Thank you very much for moving for the adoption. Do I have a seconder?
And second, Chair.
Thank you very much for seconding, Honorable Marekwa. The agenda is adopted. Could I now go to the apologies, please? Honorable Mtase, sorry. The Deputy Minister has apologized that he is unable to attend. The Minister is requesting to leave, as he said earlier, by 12. We've accepted those apologies. And I then have also received that Reverend Meshe is requesting to be excused at 11:30. I don't know if Babawa has sound now. Those are the only apologies I received. Babawa?
Chairperson, I think Babawa still have a problem, but that is also the only apologies that we received from our side.
Thank you very much. If we do get an indication of further apologies, do we have any further apologies that you know of, members? If not, I'll take the other apologies later. Do I have a proposal for the adoption of the apologies?
I propose, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Whip. Do I have a seconder for the adoption of the apologies?
Good morning, Chair. I second.
Thank you, Honorable Peacock. Nicolette, since Babawa seems to be having difficulties, could you flight the minutes we have of last week? Do you have that set of minutes? Babawa sent it to us. Nicolette, do you have it? Honorable members, could you just be patient? In the meantime, Honorable Groenewald also sent an apology. My apologies to Dr. Groenewald. As we have indicated, Babalwa has challenges. Dr. Groenewald's apology was sent and is also adopted. He requested to leave earlier. Honorable members, as I'm saying, we are just experiencing a bit of technical glitches from the side of Babawa. Nicolette, do you perhaps have those minutes? Thank you very much, Nicolette. These are the minutes of the 24th of May, the meeting which we had with Treasury. Just to refresh your memory, you can move. Next page, page 1, page 2, page 3, the presentations, the committee deliberations. The committee had detailed deliberations. We also mentioned here that the amendments to the IPID Act should match its expansion strategy. The IPID Amendment Bill, Honourable Minister, will be working on that as well with the Civilian Secretariat. Honourable members, you have received these minutes well in advance. Do I have any additions or corrections that you wish to make? Honourable members, any additions, corrections that you wish to make? There are no matters arising from this minutes. Honourable members, I do not see any hands. Could we then have a proposal for the adoption of the minutes?
I move for the adoption of the minutes, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Siabe. Our whip moves for the adoption. Do I have a seconder?
Chairperson, I rise to second the adoption of the minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Koza. We accept the minutes are thus approved and accepted. Apologies approved and accepted. Nicolette, do you have the oversight report that was also sent to us? If not, then we can do that next week. Do we have that, Nicolette? The report of the Portfolio Committee on Police on its oversight visit to the SAPS training facility in Kimberley 3 Sai in the Northern Cape, the Central Police Station Northern Cape, the Central Firearm Registry Gauteng, and the SAPS Tshwane Training Academy. Honourable members, you have seen this. Thank you very much for the report. Nicolette, there's been quite some work that we've put through the committee, and we thank you and the team. Thank you for doing the work. I know that we gave you very short notice to do the analysis of the crime stats. Next page, please. Page 2, page 3. Page 4. The recommendations, sorry. The committee recommends that a fully fledged SAPS training academy should be established in the Northern Cape. The committee recommends that more effort should be made to ensure gender parity in recruits and trainees in future years. The committee recommends that more attention should be paid to recoup funds from trainees that do not complete their training. We have had the MECs of Safety of the Northern Cape who attended, as well as the MEC in Gauteng who attended. Could we then go to page 4, page 5? That was at the station, the police station, the deliberations of the committee. Could we go to the recommendations? There are 2 recommendations. This was about the proliferation of taverns and the impact thereof on crime. The Solplaatje municipality should enforce its bylaws and ensure that taverns comply with operating hours. The municipality should further consider the impact of alcohol on crime when considering the approval of tavern licenses. The impact of alcohol also came up in the crime stats quite seriously. That will be mentioned again when we analyze the crime stats. Central Firearm Registry. We had very detailed responses. The recommendations. The committee recommends that the digitation of firearm applications must be fast-tracked while complying meticulously with all legislative prescripts. Honorable members of the public, this report will be available. It will also be passed in Parliament. We have given the detailed discussions and responses which we had at the Central Firearm Registry. The committee noted that there was a massive improvement at the Central Firearm Registry from the time that we had visited there to the time that we visited now during our oversight visit. This was the second training center. The committee recommends that gender and race parity should be ensured in future recruitment drives to ensure that SAPS has an equitable racial and gender representations. The report is put before the meeting for consideration and before it is taken to the National Assembly. I present the report for you for adoption. Those members who attended the oversight visit, do I have a proposal for the adoption of the oversight report?
I propose, Chair, for the adoption.
Thank you. Honorable Peacock proposes adoption. Do I have a seconder?
I second the proposal, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Whip. The report is approved and adopted and ready to go to the National Assembly for consideration.
Chairperson,
Yes.
my hand is up.
Honorable de Blanche.
Chairperson, I just want to mention that we reserve our rights again. Thank you.
Oh, my apologies. The DA reserves its rights. Do we have any political parties that reserve their rights?
Yes, I do, Chairperson, ACDP.
ACDP reserves its rights. Any further?
Chairperson,
Could that please be kept, entered? Dr.
Chair-
Groenewald?
Chairperson, we also reserve. Well, I didn't join it, but therefore I
Yes.
actually can't approve, but we also reserve.
Thank you very much. Sorry, we didn't include that in the report. DA, ACDP, Freedom Front Plus. Any other political party that wishes to reserve its rights? Thank you very much, Honorable Tablanche. That is so noted and approved.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for reminding us, Honorable Tablanche. Honorable members, what we'll do now is Nicolette will flight. I asked her to just do the research document because of the work that she had to do. I obviously did not expect her to do a PowerPoint presentation. So Nicolette will speak to the analysis which was done, and we will then follow the analysis. Nicolette, you do not need to read every sentence. We have seen the crime statistics, we have engaged with it. The minister and his team did the presentation, and we said yesterday that we'll do the discussions today. We are thus ready with the discussions. This is the main item of our agenda today. Nicolette, when you are ready, you could flight the report. Nicolette, could you just make it a little bigger for us, please? And you will highlight those areas, Nicolette. The floor is yours. And once I cannot thank you enough.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Thank you for the opportunity. Good morning, honorable members. Like Chairperson said, I'm just going to quickly go through the paper that I did. Honorable Terwella mentioned yesterday that it's quite important to look at the quarterly trend of crime across the financial year. And this is what I've done. Chairperson and members, what I'm saying here is that the trend across quarters in the 2021 and 2022 and the 2022-23 financial year shows quite the same trend, in that you will find that in the first quarter and the fourth quarter, the crime decreases, while in the second and third quarter, it increases. And the crime statistics largely provide a holistic view or a historic view of crime trends across a defined period. But crime statistics are arguably only beneficial for crime prevention when used in terms of real time at local policing level. As such, it is vital that local crime information and analysis centers, or so-called CIMAC, must be effective and adequately resourced. The graph on the screen shows the trend across the 4 quarters of this past and the previous financial year. When you look at the annual increase, overall crime would show an increase of 7.24% when compared the past and the previous financial year. Chair and honorable members, I must point out that the annual figures provided are just a basic calculation of the figures provided throughout the quarter. So it's not a cleaned up version, and it might differ slightly from the annual figures provided by the SAPS. The table below here shows the crime across 4 financial years between 2019, 2020, and 2022-23. As members can see in this year, it was at the height of the COVID lockdown, so crime decreased significantly. So one can see that the crime recorded pre-COVID and post-COVID is quite similar to each other, whereas these 2 years are quite outliers due to the lockdown restrictions. As shown above, contact crime shows a very similar trend across the 2 financial years under review, where the first quarter will be quite low, and the fourth quarter, and then there's a spike in the third quarter. But in contact crime, the second quarter of the previous financial year had quite a significant decrease, which is quite interesting. Chair, if you compare the annual stats, there will be an increase of 8.5% in contact crime across annual statistics. Looking at the quarterly trend for murder, it shows similar pattern. Chair, and to note here that the annual increase in murder would be 9.6%. The graph below shows similar trend for rape across the 4 quarters, but also outlier in the 2021-22 financial year in the second quarter, where rape decreased. But overall, the annual increase will be 3.22% for the financial years. In terms of murder of women across the quarters, we can see that there's a quite an increase in murder of women in the 2022-23 and 2021-22 financial years. And this is quite a significant increase of 20.25% compared annually. And honorable members, in terms of the figures provided by the police, 12.9% of women murdered in the fourth quarter of 2022-23 was directly related to domestic violence. The annual figures show that there will be a slight decrease of 0.9% in children murdered across the financial year. Chair, so that concludes the the quarterly trend over the 2 financial years. Just in terms of a quick overview of the detailed fourth quarter crime statistics, I want to highlight here that contact crimes are the most feared crime category, as the crime is committed against a person in a very violent nature. This includes home robbery, murder, and assault. The crime ratios that the police provide is quite crucial for looking at crime in a holistic manner across different locations and population sizes. You can see it as an equalization of matters and compensate for the differences. So you can do a reliable comparison between different provinces. And that's the main benefit of having per capita ratios. I just want to highlight the per capita ratio for murder and attempted murder and common assault is the highest ratio in the fourth quarter across 5 financial years. The steady increase of the per capita ratio of murder is a key concern and should be addressed, Chairperson. But as we know, according to the SAPS, the most murders, attempted murder and assault GBH, are caused by arguments and misunderstandings. And especially when these are committed in public spaces. Honourable members, in terms of this, the importance of environmental design cannot be overstated, as adequate lighting in public spaces can play a significant role in decreasing contact crime, especially murder, attempted murder, rape, and assault in these public spaces. And it really impacts quite significantly on the ability of the police to access these areas that are not well lit. And Chair, that this also draws to the impact of load shedding on crime, where we heard in Kimberley that when in periods of load shedding, the streets are not lit, which really does impact quite significantly on crime. As I stated earlier, honourable members, the annual increase for murder across the 4 quarters will be 9.68%, which is quite a significant increase. Looking at the causative factors for murder, in the 4th quarter, it was arguments, misunderstanding, followed by mob justice. But, bless you. Chairperson, what has overtaken the 3rd most prevalent causative factor is robbery at residential premises, which is quite significant as we look at robbery at residential premises also increased by 5.9% in the 4th quarter compared to the previous period. And you can draw a conclusion that this led to the causative factor for robbery leading to murders in the 4th quarter. Chair, I'm just going to move over to the most frequently used instruments to commit murder. That remains firearms at 43.3% of all murders are committed with firearms, followed by knives. But it's interesting to note that in the Free State and Northern Cape provinces, knives are used more often than firearms to commit murder. And the highest number of firearm-related murders are recorded in the KwaZulu-Natal province. It is also important to note that in the 4th quarter, almost 150 murders were committed using a body part. That is like 2.5% of all murders being either beaten or kicked to death, which is quite significant. And you can argue that instrument used for murder, other than firearms, require close proximity between the victim and the perpetrator. As such, it's like really a violent and very personal manner to commit murder. And these other instruments includes knives, sharp instruments, blunt instruments, body parts, and stones. And that accounts for 31% of all murders. So what I noted here, Jay, is that an international comparison will be potentially beneficial to see how this compares to international trends where where such violence is committed in interpersonal settings. Chair, I've just highlighted the top 10 murder stations for the fourth quarter, and it's interesting to note that these 10 stations account for 8.2% of all murders in South Africa between January and March. Apologies, that should be 23. Chairperson, honorable members, the Umlazi police station, which is number 1 in KwaZulu-Natal, that station alone accounts for 1% of all murders in South Africa, and these can be geographically fund for prevention operations. Then both attempted murder and assault GBH increased in the fourth quarter. Chair and honorable members, and the causal factors for these remain arguments, and for attempted murder followed by robbery. And this links to the increase of residential robbery. In terms of sexual offences, it decreased by 4.3% in the fourth quarter. And honorable members, it will be interesting to see how the removal of the indicator to measure conduct crime against women from the 2023-24 annual performance plan of the SAPS will impact on cases reported at station level. Just to note that despite the overall decrease in the fourth quarter, the KwaZulu-Natal, Limpopo, and Northwest provinces all recorded increases in rape by quite a significant number. The leading place where rapes are committed remains at the residence of perpetrators or at the residence of the victim. And this represents 61% of all rapes are committed in private spaces. But Chair, honorable members, it's quite interesting to note that proportionally the incident rate for rapes in public places increased, while that in private residences decreased over the fourth quarter of the 2022-23 financial year. I've just highlighted here the top 10 stations where rape is reported, and the top 10 stations accounts for 4.7% of all rapes that was committed between January and March 2023. In terms of selected conduct crime against women and children, all categories noted by the SAPS for murder, attempted murder, and assault GBH increased in the fourth quarter, and annually the increase will be 20% for murder committed against or women murdered. Chairperson, honorable members, in terms of crimes against children, there are some decreases in murder and assault GBH, but still it should be mentioned that in 90 days between January and March, 246 children were murdered in South Africa. 260 were almost murdered, attempted murder, and 1,931 were assaulted with the intent to inflict serious or grievous bodily harm. And these are quite significantly high statistics in terms of international comparisons. Chairperson, honorable members, I'm going to skip over the subcategories for aggravated robbery. Just important here to note is again the robbery at residential premises that increased quite a bit in the fourth quarter, and it's arguably when people are at home. Robbery indicates that it is not a burglary; it's done while people are at home and with a dangerous instrument. So this is a quite a significant increase. In terms of kidnapping, honorable members, for the 2022-23 financial year, the SAPS did not provide a complete list of kidnapping cases, but only provided the 3 causative factors for kidnapping. In previous years, the police provided a complete breakdown of all kidnappings. And as can be seen here, in the previous financial year, 2021-22, kidnappings increased by 109% compared to the 2020-21 financial year. But honorable members, the leading cause for kidnapping was ransom demands, followed by human trafficking and then extortion. A very much significant increase was recorded in kidnappings for ransom. And in this period, it increased by 51.2%. And the most significant increase was recorded in Gauteng, that increased by 121.8%, and KwaZulu-Natal, that increased by 125%. And these figures are quite high. Just to note, the crimes detected as a result of police action is the only category in which an increase is viewed as a positive and a decrease as a negative. In the fourth quarter, crimes detected as a result of police action decreased by 2.5%, which is not an ideal situation. And this overall decrease is attributed to the significant decrease in crimes of cases related to driving under the influence of alcohol and drugs. Chairperson, I'm just going to quickly go through the key considerations or key issues for consideration. During the adoption of the report, we noted the impact of alcohol and drugs and the disproportionate number of taverns that are approved and set up in local municipalities. And what we've heard is that these licenses are often approved for economic development, but as we've seen, crime in areas nullifies economic development. Which is quite a significant problem, Chair. And honorable members, this must really be sorted out, because over the 6 parliamentary term, we've heard this impact of taverns and shebeens and the impact of alcohol on communities during every oversight that we have conducted. The problem we are facing with interpersonal violence is significant, and a holistic approach should be developed to address the challenges faced by interpersonal conflict. As I've mentioned, honorable members, there's various issues that negatively impact the efficiency of the SAPS in terms of environmental design, especially ineffective lighting in public spaces and the local municipalities must really assist the police to have better access to affected crime areas. Honorable members, we need a comprehensive analysis of the data set of the police. They provide really fantastic data sheets, but these must be interpreted in a way that it can assist the police, not only in crime prevention, but also to track trends and how different factors impact on these trends. I've mentioned the importance of the Crime Information and Analysis Center at local station level, and that these centers are crucial in providing real-time crime statistics to allow police to respond immediately to increases in crime in various or specific areas within the policing precinct. And then just to conclude, earlier this year, we've had engagement with Dr. Andrew Fall from the ISS on data-driven methods. As mentioned by the President in his latest State of the Nation address, it will be quite interesting to hear whether this police have taken this concept further and whether any developments have been made to implement a data-driven methods for to identify and target crime hotspots. Thank you, Chairperson and members.
Thank you very much, Nicolette, for that thorough analysis, very professional and detailed, and the type of analysis which you give does assist the committee tremendously. Honorable members, the first point I'd like to make is that the process which we have now adopted of receiving the crime stats from the minister and the department the day before he releases the crime stats, that process is correct, where we receive it on the first day, but then we use the first day as an ideal opportunity to receive the information, even though we have short notice and a short time frame. We then give our staff an opportunity to analyze the stats. We then take the discussions the following day. I do know that it places tremendous strain on our staff, Nicolette in particular, but I am convinced that this is the correct manner in which we are dealing with the crime stats. If members have concerns about this, you can indicate that to me, but honorable members, right now I haven't received any complaints. The members have been pleased with the manner in which we have dealt with the crime stats. So I'm not going to take any engagements on the processes. If you wish to highlight your concerns about the processes, you can do so when you have an opportunity to speak. We have noted with concern certain increases in crime, but we've also noticed that there's been a decrease in certain areas. I'll highlight that once you have had the opportunity to speak. Honorable members, I'll now give you an opportunity after the Minister, the National Commissioner, and the provincial commissioners have had an opportunity. You can raise your hands, but I'll first allow the Minister and the National Commissioner to comment. Honorable Minister, we are cognizant of the fact that you may have to leave earlier. Would you like to comment, Honorable Minister?
Chairperson, thanks very much. I was kicked 3 times during the presentation of Nicole, so I have some gaps, but it was quite interesting to listen to her. I would agree with you, but that is for members that her giving extra time to give analysis. I'm sure all of us benefit. We are benefiting out of this kind of presentation. I think engage as we go forward. Some analysis really coincide with the things as the police would say. She goes to the across the government contribution, other departments. She mentioned basically human settlement. I think social development would be one of those. Education, especially basic education, would be one of those. As we discuss and we engage, also I think we can contribute on those matters. So I will listen to the members from my side, Chair, and be very open to learn and those things, and maybe later stage while one is still here, put things the way we things we see and how we can all pick up those elements that will help us to reduce the crime, which I guess will be the aim of all of us. Chair, I can just steal this a little bit. It is on your previous report that we do want to make a call on the committee members to help us.
Yeah, thank you, Minister. Sorry, we are losing you, Minister.
Chair, I don't know what is happening. Myself, I'm losing you. I was losing the colleague. I think I have a problem here today. Saying on your first presentation, I would request that the members help us on the terms of demographics of the intake in the South African police. I think we are struck and will really love to see more demographics improving, especially from the white compatriots of South Africa joining this organization. We are putting in place the ways of trying to increase, but the members also can make the input how we can improve so that South African Police Service is an organization for all South Africans, not for some South Africans. For now, Chair, I would end there and listen with a hope of really taking on board the analysis made by the committee and how do we go forward in enhancing our improvement in fighting crime. Thanks.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Before your team comes in, Minister, our analysis confirms the concerns you have raised with the committee, and we are convinced that we are working on these concerns as a collective. The one consideration that we have to do as a committee would be the proliferation of taverns in provinces. This problem has been highlighted during our oversight visits to all the provinces. Minister, we may have to call in the liquor boards and the Minister of Trade as well as the MECs, not to give an account of this, but to request them to consider and reconsider these applications in a more serious manner. We are, as the committee, we are extremely concerned about these taverns. that they are also contributing significantly to crime, all forms of crime. Minister, your results have also shown us the impact of alcohol on our society. The last point I'd like to make is that SAP submitted another presentation on precious metals and economic crimes. We have committed ourselves to reconsider the economic crimes. The committee did its oversight work with the Portfolio Committee of Minerals and Energy on illegal mining, and that was also well received. Honorable members, we also have considered the matter of firearms, illegal firearms, the improvements at the Central Firearm Registry has been noted, but we still have concerns about the use of firearms when it comes to certain incidences of murder and crime. Before I take hands, Honorable Majosi has also indicated that she has load shedding and that she has difficulty in hearing and connecting. So we've noted that as well. National Commissioner and Provincial Commissioners, would you like to add with the statistics? We are not disrespecting protocol. We are dealing with the statistics now. National Commissioner, thank you very much for bringing your provincial commissioners to the meeting today. National Commissioner? Our Deputy Minister is not here. National Commissioner, do you have any comments? Would you like your provincial commissioners and your other Deputy National Commissioners to comment?
Thanks, Honorable Chairperson and Honorable members. Now the deputies and provincial commissioners are free to comment. But yes, indeed, Chair, we do acknowledge the analysis is more or less is exactly what we also General Skukuni gave us. And we do realize, yes, that actually drugs and the liquor are the biggest drivers to our violent crime. And they happen mostly where we have a challenge of environmental design, where there's no streets, there's no lights, people don't have toilets, even in the middle of the night, they must go through a specific area, walking through there to get to fetch water or to get to a bathroom. So those environments, they, of course, mixed with the addition of availability of liquor and drugs, they cause problem in terms of crime. And quite often you don't find those perpetrators in such environments, which makes investigation difficult. And of course, there are provinces that are prominent, especially on matters related to stick fight, like your Eastern Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, and Limpopo. There is quite a number of matters there that happens. At the beginning, they don't start as a matter, it's a play with sticks, and then somebody dies, and quite often then they open the case of murder. Let me start with Eastern Cape, if Eastern Cape wants to comment. PC Eastern Cape.
Good morning, Honorable Chairperson. Greetings to the honorable members, all National Commissioner and all officers that are on the platform. Thank you, General. One comment I would like to make, General, is
Apologies to the provincial commissioner. Provincial commissioners, if you have your network stabilized or you have an opportunity, I haven't prepared you for this, but could you please start your video? We do not see you every day, so I would like our honorable members to know who you are. We met the Eastern Cape Provincial Commissioner when we did our oversight visit there. But please start your videos. You could just do so when you introduce yourself, and then you could switch it off. General, you may
Thank you,
continue.
Chair. I have opened my video, Chair. I'm not
You've
sure
opened
whether.
your- Is there something wrong with me? But I don't see your face, General.
Maybe I must adjust my gadget, Chairperson. I'm just doing that.
You can continue while you're doing that. Oh, there's something wrong. General, please continue. We'll take your face, your beautiful face later. You could
Thank you.
continue with your presentation. You could stop the video now. Thank you, General.
Thank you, Chairperson. Apologies for that, Chair. In the Eastern Cape, Chairperson, our biggest challenge is in the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro, which comes up with 4 MEDAs. But we have, and the next one is the OR Tambo district, Umtata, and also to a lesser extent, Buffalo City. But Chair, we are aware of the problem. What we have done is that we have added more boots on the ground in the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro to curb these MEDAs. But what has happened in the first quarter is that we had these multiple victim MEDAs where people were shot at and during a birthday party, and also in Tata Kunu, where 7 people were killed. The good news, Chairperson, is that we have arrested suspects in these cases, and these cases are appearing at court. So we had that. One phenomenon that we have noticed during the investigation, Chairperson, is that there's a new trend that is coming up with the insurances, MEDAs, where the family members insure a family member and then that person is killed. It is something that is worrying. It is coming up more in Nelson Mandela, in the Nelson Mandela Metro, and also in Tata. We have these cases, but we're working with the insurances in terms of saying we delay the payouts up until we finalize the investigation. But generally, we are having more forces on the ground on all these districts, the 3 top districts. One worrying factor, Chair, is also the fact that the province is topping when it comes to the rapes in Lusikisiki. There's a lot of activities, Chairperson, that we do in addressing the sexual offenses in the Lusikisiki and Mtata area, because Mtata is also joining in the rape cases as Mtata Station. We are focusing in that area in terms of awareness campaigns, and also all these Upindoda in terms of Men for Change of the South African Police Service, where we were there last week, we were at Mtata, trying to create awareness to men in the area in terms of these sexual offenses. Then, Chair, our challenge also is the terrain in the Eastern Cape. We have a lot of inaccessible roads in the province, resulting in our response being delayed and affected in terms of addressing these crimes. But we are doing our best, Chairperson, and also not losing focus on all the type of crimes that are reported in the province. With those challenges that we have, we still are taking responsibility and still are addressing the different crimes in the province. I think I should end there, Chairperson. I submit.
Thank you very much. Before the National Commission, the NASCOM calls on the other provincial commissioners, Minister, I would like to thank you and the National Commissioner firstly for allowing the provincial commissioners to be present in today's meeting. This was a correct decision, and we are benefiting from the inputs of the provincial commissioners. Before you do leave, Minister, may I also then request that we do invite the MECs of the various provinces when we do our analysis of the crime stats. We'll do that through your office. We'll be inviting the MECs through the Minister's office. And I'm convinced that this would also give us a better understanding of what is happening on the ground. Minister, if you agree, could we do that, please?
Well, indeed, that will benefit all of us and give us an extra edge of dealing with the crime from all angles, Chair. So indeed, that would be a good move. We agree.
We'll do those invites through the Minister's office and observe protocol. Nicolette and Babawa, when we do the crime stats, the members of the committee have requested that the MECs be invited, and those MECs that we have had contact with in the provinces have also indicated that they would like to attend the portfolio committees, particularly when we deal with the crime stats. National Commissioner, you may continue with your inputs from your provincial commissioners.
Thanks, Honorable
Could we,
Chairperson.
National Commissioner, we also limit the time. We do want our provincial commissioners. Could we just limit the time that they do speak, because they'll still have an opportunity to respond again after the questions of the members. Could we make that ruling, please, that they limit their responses now, and that they do have an opportunity to respond to the members after the members have asked their questions? Thank you.
Thanks, Honorable Chairperson. Yeah, now we'll make it at most 2 minutes. I'll now go to the province of KwaZulu-Natal. The provincial commissioner is on vacation leave, Honorable Chair. So there is an acting provincial commissioner, Major General Makova. General Makova.
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, honorable members, Minister, National Commissioner, Divisional Commissioners present, Provincial Commissioners, and all protocol observed. I'm trying to open the video. It says you cannot start the video because the host has stopped it. Okay. Chairperson, can I check if I'm audible?
And you may continue.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. As the National Commissioner has indicated, my name is Major General Makova. I'm the acting provincial commissioner in KwaZulu-Natal. Chairperson, in KZN, the challenge that we are facing is that the province generally, it seems to be a violent province, in that it is easy just for people to take people's lives violently. Our murders, as it is indicated that for the fourth quarter, they've increased. 175 of these murders were as a result of multiple murders as well. Multiple murders where 2 or more people were killed in 90 incidents. And the good news is that suspects have been apprehended in some of these incidents, and some other cases are under investigation. There are other categories of crime and individual crimes that have shown an increase in this particular quarter, but we are putting out every means in visiting our strategies on a regular basis to try and curb the crime and ensure that we decrease crime and make our communities safe. What we are embarking on currently going forward, we started a while ago, but we are now intensifying it is community engagements. In these community engagements, we cover campaigns such as campaigns against buying of stolen goods. This is to reduce the market, the stolen goods that are taken during robberies, house robberies, business robberies, etc. And we also embark on and we campaign for communities to report any suspicious activities, and which is to help us to detect early criminal activities and also possession of illegal firearms, as we know that most cases or crimes, particularly murders and attempted murders, So I say that we are partnering with partnerships with private security companies and businesses that are helping us to be eyes and ears at all levels, provinces, districts, and stations. And we have a challenge of environmental design. Chairperson, if you allow me, I can stop there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, National Commissioner. Next, National Commissioner.
Thanks, Free State. Free State.
Good morning, Honorable Chairperson, members of the committee, Minister, Deputy Minister, National Commissioner, and members. Chairperson, Free State, you have taken note of the presentation. We agree that murders are still a problem, but when we look at statistics, at least we managed to have some decline as the Free State. But if you can check in Free State, the problem is that most of the murders, knives are being used. Station commanders, they are instructed to do more stop and searches and arrest people for possession of dangerous weapons. And since we embarked on that, murders is reducing the Free State, and will continue to enforce that, Chairperson. Secondly, Chairperson, you have taken note of the presentation as the Free State, and as the province, we are busy capacitating CIMEC offices at our top 20 stations with the assistance of General Sukukudi from National Office. That's my submission, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Provincial Commissioner, Free State. NASCO.
Thanks, Honorable Chair Mpumalanga.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Let me greet the Chairperson, the Minister, the National Commissioner, Provincial Commissioners, and all members. I just want to appreciate the presentation, and in Mpumalanga, Chairperson, we are having challenges of murder. Most of the murders are also the multiple murders where you find that the GBV is becoming one of the challenges where the family members are killing one another. And in that space, our mobilization in terms of the awareness is being taken care of. Chairperson, the trio crime also, it was one of the crime that was troubling us, but so far, if you can see, the crime is going down, is decreasing. So in that regard, all our roadblocks and our VCPs and stop and searches, we are capacitating on that, and we are embarking on having our operations and roadblocks on the Thursday to Sunday. However, some of the crimes, we are managing them during the week. I submit.
Thank you, Provincial Commissioner. NASCO.
Thanks, Honorable Chair. We'll go now, Limpopo. Limpopo.
I'm not sure of my video, what is happening. Good morning, Chairperson.
Open the video.
I'm trying to open, General. Let me see.
NASCOM, we could get the videos later. I'm just taking them. They'll come back again when members ask questions. So if they're having any technical issues, we understand. They should just continue.
Chairperson of our portfolio committee, good morning, and honorable members of the committee, the National Commissioner, our Minister, if he's still there, and the Provincial Commissioners, greetings to all the attendees in this meeting. Yes, Limpopo, we do have challenges of murder, and Chairperson, our murders are emanating from either domestic violence, particularly in a situation where we have mass murders of more than one person, where 2 or 3 people might be victims, where it emanates from the fights within the families and ended up in burning some of the people inside the houses. And also, we are not that much of a province that has got a problem of murders emanating from the crime itself. That is less in our analysis, but majority of our murders comes from also the issues of vigilantism in the main cause that caused by the fact that people are suspected for stealing the stock in the villages, and they ended up taking the law into their own hands. We are pleased to indicate that our murders, majority of our murders, almost 90% of our murders do have suspect. Some even in this mob justice has been convicted in court, although some of the cases are still taking long. We do make arrests even on the vigilantism cases and also in the ordinary murders. And our murders also, we're not a province that murders are committed in the main by firearms, but other instruments contribute a lot. Your knives, your sharp instrument contribute a lot in our murders. When it comes to the issues of the rape, rape seems to be stubborn in the province. I'm not sure whether it's because of the geographical setup, particularly when I'm talking about Vembe, where there's bushy areas, and people there, they walk during the night, they walk anytime, they walk in bush areas, walking alone. We are creating some awareness in that particular space. And within the Vembe district, we have partnered with a number of organizations to assist us in the issue of rape and gender-based violence. Gender-based violence, Chairperson, is a problem in the province. We are hard on creating that awareness and also making sure that those cases that are reported, we arrest the perpetrators. In a nutshell, thank you, Honorable Chairperson, and I appreciate the presentation of the analysis from the Portfolio Committee. Thank you, National Commission.
Thanks. Let's take Gauteng. Through you, Chair.
Thank you, Limpopo. Gauteng.
Greetings to the Honorable Chairperson and Honorable members. Greetings to the Honorable Minister, Deputy Minister in absentia, National Commissioner, and the colleagues in the platform. Thank you very much for the opportunity given to us. Mine, I just want to comment on the report by your content specialist, Nicolette, on what she has reported on, especially when she talks about the outer years from the COVID period and before the COVID and after the COVID, to show that the trend and the pattern of the crime remain the same. The numbers, they remain the same. But then when I look at the crime, where do we derive the biggest numbers? For example, when you look at the contact crime, nationally, out of 164, 206 contact crimes, 92,316, it is from the assault common and assault GBH. And the pattern remains the same even at the provinces and so forth. So meaning that if we employ the whole of government approach to can reduce or to can deal with the assault, whereby our people, they don't find it, they don't find a better way to can amicably resolve their conflict, the numbers, they will remain the same. You'll find that as a country annually, we are generating 1.4, 1.5 million of the overall crime stats. So again, where do we derive the biggest numbers, which push the overall crime stats of South Africa very high? It is from the other serious crimes, whereby you find that is the crimes whereby people, they are dishonest, it's a theft, it's commercial crimes, it's all sort of things. So that's where we are deriving the bigger numbers of our crime stats. So maybe when we look at the better way to can put some intervention, let us also look at those areas which is ravishing the good name of the country by contributing the big numbers. That's my submission, Chairperson. Thanks.
Thanks, Gauteng Provincial Commissioner. NASCOM next.
Thanks, Honorable Chair, Northwest. Northwest.
Could you take another province while Northwest is still preparing to come?
We'll go Northern Cape. Northern Cape.
Good morning, Honorable Chairperson, honorable members, Minister and the National Commissioner. We have taken note of the crime picture, and as an intervention and above the operations that are directed by the Minister and the National Commissioner, we've identified 2 districts in the province that are high crime generators. That is Francis Bart, where we are, and John Taolo Khaitse, where there's Kuruman. In those districts, we have added a capacity from the province, from TRT and the POPs that are helping with the operations from Thursday to Sunday. And for the 2 weeks that we have deployed those members, we can see a bit of a difference in the 2 districts. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Northern Cape. NASCON.
Thanks, Honorable Chair. Western Cape, they have got release of crime stats today. They have asked to be apology. They ask apology, Honorable Chair. I'll go back to.
Recording in progress.
Has been requesting that the provinces also attend these sessions. We have tried our best and it has been very successful today. Honorable members, you now have an opportunity to comment, ask questions, give your inputs. The minister we know would be leaving, but we have a solid team here today who can respond to you. Those members who are leaving early, you could come in first. Honorable Whitfield is having challenges with connectivity. Dr. Groenewald, Meshu, the members who have to leave early. Sheikh Imam, I'll also ask that the responses to your questions be given and then we take the other hands. I'll take those first 3 hands of members who have to leave early. Honorable Majosi and Whitfield and those members who have problems with connectivity, you could send us your questions or your comments. You could WhatsApp us directly or put it on the WhatsApp group of the committee. Honorable Groenewald, then Meshu, and then Sheikh Imam. Ter Blanche, you still okay with connectivity? So I'll first take the 3 hands and then I'll ask SAPS to respond.
Chair, I will close my video. The moment my bandwidth is a problem. Good morning to everyone. Chairperson, I want to start and I would like to ask for an update on the data-driven methods that has been announced by the President in his State of the Nation address, or as we always, evidence-based policing. Can we get an update on the progress on that specific approach? Now, Chairperson, when we talk about crime statistics, we also know that the real, can I say, correct statistics depends on each and every police station, whether they report the correct numbers of specific crimes, whether the crime that has been reported to that specific police station is recorded correctly. Is it, for instance, a burglary, or was it a burglary and was it with assault, whatever the case may be? And therefore, we know that the comprehensive analysis of crime statistics is a standard practice worldwide. Now, there are several questions related to the Crime Information and Analysis Centrum, which I want to ask. Firstly, I want to know, does the department have sufficient capacity in the CIMAC to conduct regular and sufficient crime analysis? This is very important. And if not, what approach is applied to increase the capacity of the CIMAC? Second, Chairperson, I would want to know what role does the research division of the SAPS play in docket analysis? Thirdly, I want to know, do station managers understand the functions of CIMAC, and are CIMAC products utilized? And the question is whether they understand the importance of the field work of CIMAC officers. And then fifthly, I want to know, what is the link between CIMAC and the Crime Intelligence Division? Now, Chairperson, these are very important matters, because I also want to know, are issues of data integrity discussed at provincial crime combating forums and station crime combating forum meetings? We're coming back to the evidence-based driven of data. And next question, Honorable Chair, is, are CIMAC officials used more effectively in urban and metropolitan areas as opposed to rural areas? And if it is so, the department should then explain the reasons for the underutilizing of CIMAC officials at the rural stations. Chairperson, lastly, I want to know, the department should indicate the most prominent challenges that impact negatively on the service delivery of CIMAC. You know, I just checked into the crime prevention strategy, and in the strategy itself says that we know that the statistics, and in fact, it means the integrity of the statistics is not up to standard. And Chairperson, I want to put it very clearly. We cannot use crime statistics to ensure that we fight crime if the integrity, and yes, I know there's a process to determine it and everything, but these are very important questions. I can put a figure forward for any official who's doing research, but the question is whether that figure is the correct figure. I am from the opinion that we do not have the correct reflection on our crime statistics, Chairperson. There are many cases that are reported to police stations, but it is not recorded properly, and it does not form part of the complete crime statistics. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Meshu.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you for the presentation we got, particularly what our own researcher has done, looking at it has been very helpful. Now, from what Lieutenant General Menes said about people who are insured, there's a tendency that people who are insured in the Eastern Cape, particularly in the Nelson Mandela Metro, are being killed. Now, if that has or is becoming a pattern, she said they are consulting with insurances and asking them to delay their payouts until investigations are concluded. My question there is, as many families depend on payouts to assist in burial of their loved ones, have the people who have been told that payouts should not happen until investigations are concluded, are they happy about that? Is it something that can be applied throughout the country? Are the insurance companies responding positively to such a request? And that's my first question. And second question around that is that in such cases, are the family members of the deceased becoming first suspects? Because otherwise, how would ordinary criminals out there know that insurance policy has been taken of the person they are going to target? Have they tried to link family members with the death of their loved one just because they have been killed after they were insured? Is there any link that they have found? My other question, or have they not looked into that yet? And if they have, is there evidence that that definitely is the case, that the person was killed because they were insured? And coming to what Nicolette has given us, most categories of crimes, she says, are increasing in the fourth quarter, or have increased in the fourth quarter compared to this in 2022-23 compared to the same period the last previous financial year. What I want to know from this is that are there any causative factors they have observed? Why in the fourth quarter of 2022-23 conduct crimes have increased, and what is the strategy or the remedy to ensure that that does not become a pattern for the future? And the issue of the leading causative factor for attempted murder cases being arguments. And the observation is that South Africans struggle with peaceful conflict resolution. How does the police deal with this one? If the South Africans are struggling with peaceful conflict resolution, how do they deal with this matter? Are they working with other departments? Because this is not their mainline function as the police. But how do they ensure that people know how to resolve their conflicts peacefully? Because arguments obviously lead, from what we're hearing, to murders. And then the case of murder, the leading case of murder or attempted murders are committed. They say remains at public places such as beaches. The beach is mentioned. They are more interested in the beach. Is it because people go to the beach intoxicated, or how do they the beach the people at the beach contribute to murders and attempted murders. I also see that the leading place where rapes are committed remains residence of the perpetrator, but the second number is again, the second reason or place where rapes are committed again is public places, and the beach appears there again. Now, I want to know that this means that women or people who are raped at the beaches are going to the beaches alone, and is it mainly at nighttime or during the day? And lastly, linked to this question, is what is being done, particularly by the police, to assist in cases where when a person screams or a woman screams because they are being raped or they are attempting to rape them, that neighbors or people around don't assist. We obviously are aware that many people don't want to be witnesses in courts. So when they see a crime taking place, they ignore, they walk away, or they look the other way. So is there anything that the police are doing to help the members of the public know the importance of helping their neighbors when they're screaming for help? And obviously, when the cases are remanded all the time in court, and I'm not sure whether police can do anything about this, the people who are witnesses, they say we don't have that time, you know. So it is a problem, I know, even for the police, but is there anything that they are doing to assist, to request the public to assist when people are screaming for assistance, particularly at places like beaches? Beaches normally are crowded, but how does a single person end up in the beach and they are raped there at the beach? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Meshu. Honorable Sheikh Imam, your hand has disappeared.
I'm here, Chair. No, I thought you recognized me, so I thought I should put it down. Thank you.
Honorable Sheikh Imam, and then Ter Blanche, and then I'll take a round of responses. Honorable Terabella, but may I take you after the responses? Honorable Ter Blanche, could I also take you after the responses, please?
Thank you, Chairperson. Yes, it's fine.
Yeah, I'm afraid I'm going to lose the other members. My concern is also that Honorable Whitfield doesn't seem to be able to. Honorable Ter Blanche, could you assist him? I'll allow you to also ask the questions on behalf of Honorable Whitfield. Sheikh Imam, the floor is yours now.
Thank you, and thank you very much, Chairperson. I'm attending the Chiefs meeting at the same time. Yeah, and thank you very much for the presentation. Also allow me to thank Nicolette for the fantastic piece of work she has done. My first question is this. Now we know and understand what are the causes, the root causes of the rise in crime. One good example is, Chairperson, if you remember, we went through to Kimberley and we've heard about the number of taverns. We've heard of the number of off sales. We've heard the number of second-hand dealers, and we've heard the issue or the concerns that were raised about those illegal miners. So the question is, how do we deal with those specifics? Because year in and year out, we are hearing the same thing. Now, when I ask this question specifically, I would love to know from SAPS, should you not consider once again an imbizo that you had many years ago, which not all role players attended, so that you can spell out in ABC language to those that are responsible directly and or indirectly for the high levels of crime. And a good example is Liquor Board gives you licenses up to 2 o'clock. Local authorities, including mayors, of course, they extend it 24 hours. Now, you're not going to be able to deal with this, Minister of Police and your entire team. But what you need is to engage with all these role players so that you can deal with this. Now, I know I thought there was some kind of provision that no tavern should exist about 100 meters away from the school unless it's further away. But that is not the case. So in order for you to deal with this and reduce the crime, particularly linked to alcohol, I am saying that we need to engage with politicians in all spheres of government to be able to address that. Then the issue of firearms. Do you not think that the stage has come in South Africa, given the high number of murders, particularly, that we should consider a gun-free South Africa and leave it only in the hands of law enforcement until eventually we've rid the entire country of firearms so that people could be a lot safer and secure? My next question is, what level of engagement is there with you and the Metro Police and law enforcement? Now, I know law enforcement and things belong to the municipalities, but Chairperson, if you go on a walkabout or a drive about in eThekwini, which is a no-go area even on the beach at the moment, or the entire CBD, there is really very little or nothing being done by the Metro Police, believe me. Very little or nothing, other than finding them standing in bunches of 5s and 6s, with each one of them with their cell phones in hand. So I'd like to know, to what extent are you getting cooperation from these other sectors?